丹姐真的震惊了，男生相抢。
Ms. Dan was really shocked. Even when men meet a beautiful and radiant girl, can they still be so rational? Just last month, a guy born in 1999 in Suzhou asked Ms. Dan to find a girlfriend. She introduced him to a beautiful girl born in 2000 with a perfect figure. The guy was immediately moved. After the first date, that same night, he invited her to watch a movie and have a late-night snack. Everything seemed to be going very well, but just a few days ago the girl suddenly came to see Ms. Dan looking confused and upset. She said she didn't understand why the guy suddenly stopped texting. Before that, the two of them had been chatting and texting continuously until 2-3 a.m. every night. On weekends, when she had time off, he even took the time to take her shopping, buy gifts and pay for meals. Almost all that was missing was a sentence to confirm the relationship. But 3 days ago, he suddenly became cold and slow to reply to messages, and no longer enthusiastic. Ms. Dan immediately texted to ask what happened. He replied, "It's not that I'm being cold on purpose, but in the past, I realized two big problems. If we can't solve them, we'll get divorced after marriage." He explained, "The first problem. When we first met, I thought it was okay, but as we got closer, her true personality began to show. One time when we were shopping, she happened to meet a colleague of mine. She was extremely friendly, smiled and greeted him, and introduced him to her job, chatting casually. But as soon as the other person left, her expression changed completely. She turned around and said, 'God, I hate that guy so much. It's annoying to look at. He's only a manager because he has a back door.' The way she turned her back so quickly scared me. Not only that, right after that, her mother called. She picked up the phone with an extremely rude attitude, almost yelling at her mother. At that point, her image in my eyes plummeted. The second problem, we dated 7 or 8 times. She never took the initiative to pay even once. What really made me angry was that one time we went to the movies, and as soon as we got there, the customer called me. I said I'd buy the tickets for you first so you could answer the phone. But when I came back, she only bought one ticket for herself and was rushing me, "Hurry up and buy the tickets." At that moment, I decided to end it. No matter how pretty she was, I couldn't continue. So my sister introduced me to someone new, a girl born in 1996 in Wuxi. Then he texted her, "It's not that I'm stingy or calculating. I just believe that marriage should be something that two people work hard for. If you meet a selfish person who only thinks about himself, even if you get married, it will only lead to divorce. What about you? Do you think this guy made the right decision?"
真的是太炸裂了，我们的年轻人彻底。
It's really overwhelming. Young Chinese people now don't want to get married at all. Currently, there are 240 million single people, pushing society into the single era. In the first 3 quarters of this year alone, only 4.747 million couples registered for marriage nationwide, down 943,000 from last year. Meanwhile, the number of divorces was 1.967 million, almost unchanged from the previous year. For comparison, in 2014, China had 13.069 million couples registered for marriage. Less than 10 years later, this number has almost halved. In 2022, there will be only 6.835 million couples getting married, a truly shocking number. The national fertility rate last year was just around 1.0, second to last among the world's major economies, just above South Korea, where the birth rate is so low that it threatens the country's long-term survival. In 2022, the percentage of people over 25 who are unmarried in China reached 70.8%. In the 25 to 29 age group, the unmarried rate was 51.3%. And in the 30-plus age group, 27.7%, nearly 1/3 of those over 30 are still unmarried. And that's not all. By 2023, the number of single people in China will have reached 240 million, more than the combined populations of Japan, South Korea and North Korea. By the end of this year, that number is expected to surpass 300 million. So why don't young people want to get married? There are three core reasons. One, there is no one to marry. According to the 7th census, China has 723.34 million men, accounting for 51.24%, and 688.44 million women, accounting for 48.76%. There are 34.9 million more women. That is why many women complain that they cannot find a suitable partner. 40 years ago, it was predicted that there would be 30 million men who could not get married. Now, the era of 30 million single men has not only not ended, but has become more serious.
Second, marriage is too expensive. The cost of dowry is high and real estate prices are skyrocketing. Along with the burden of raising children after marriage, these are the main reasons why young people are afraid to get married. According to a survey by Renmin University in 2023, the average cost of marriage in China is up to $44,000 US dollars, while the average disposable income per capita is only $5,200. In rural areas, the gap is even larger. The cost of marriage is 15 times higher than the average rural income of $2,800 US. Stories about sky-high wedding gifts, often shared online, have destroyed young people's faith in marriage. Instead of working hard only to realize it's still not enough for a dowry or a house, many people choose a free and comfortable single life. As a result, the average age of first marriage for men has increased from 23.6 to 29.4 years old, and for women from 22 to 28 years old. Third, women are more educated, independent, and do not need a husband. The fact that women are more educated is directly affecting the marriage rate. In 2013, of the total number of full-time university students, the rate of women was 54.8% and that of men was 45.2%. By 2022, the rate of women increased to 63% and that of men decreased to 37%. According to the 6th census, the higher the education level of women, the lower the marriage rate. 78% of those who graduated from junior high school are married, 56% of those who graduated from university. Only 49% of those who have a master's degree or higher are not married. More and more women are highly educated, have good incomes, and are independent in their lives and finances. They do not need men to live a stable life. For them, marriage is no longer a need, but sometimes a risk. A study in the US also showed that when a woman's income exceeds 50% of the family's income, the marriage rate drops sharply, especially when the wife earns more than her husband. All of the above reasons have led to a record drop in the marriage rate in China. And this is not just an emotional problem, but a social security problem. If not resolved soon, young Chinese people will continue to let themselves go, and the marriage rate may continue to hit a new low. Panic is spreading. In cities like Beijing and Dalian, house prices have surpassed $380,000 and many women have completely collapsed, even starting to actively pursue men. But as soon as they hear that they are over 30 years old, men immediately ignore them and do not bother to respond. Some women have even lowered their standards, saying that as long as they are men, it is fine, but still no one pays attention. A guy made a dramatic comparison as follows. I went to buy a car. The staff introduced me to a brand new car. As long as I like it, I do not mind paying any money. I will take it for maintenance every week, carefully preserving every little scratch. But if they introduce me to an old car, the kind that has been stepped on roughly, the engine is worn out, covered in soot, let alone maintenance, I do not want to let it take up space in the garage. And if it is a delivery car, an old, overloaded car, even the showroom does not accept it. Then he concluded, older single women are like unwanted used cars. Some have even had abortions, frankly, like leftovers in a landfill. The most unbelievable thing is that these women still try to sell themselves at sky-high prices. What do you think of this view? Cruel or true? Before we start, let us know in the comments where you're watching this video. Connecting with audiences around the world is a great inspiration for us. Can't find it. There really is no one left to find. At weddings in Hangzhou today, the gap between the number of men and women has become extremely obvious. A very serious gap. With at least half of the women will not be able to get married in the future. Why is that? Because the women who attend matchmaking sessions, whether they are 28 or 30 years old, are all looking for the same type of man. A man who is at least 1.75 meters tall, has a house and a car, and earns over $1,400 per month. Now, look at the actual numbers. The total population of Hangzhou is 12.52 million, of which 6 million are permanent female residents. After excluding infants, student-age students, and the elderly, the number of women of actual marriageable age is less than 2 million. And of those, more than 1.3 million are classified as older women of marriageable age. So with the current situation, more than half of the educated women in Hangzhou may never get married. What do you think about this situation? If you are still watching, please leave a comment to let me know you are still with me.
我抢中国男人了，据数据调查
Foreign women are now flocking to China to compete for Chinese men. According to surveys, half of Chinese men are willing to date and marry foreign women, even accepting cross-border marriages. In recent years, many Chinese men have been attracted to countries like Nepal, Bangladesh, the Philippines and Ukraine to find wives, and these cross-border marriages are said to be very happy. Take Bangladesh, for example. The standard of living there is not high, equivalent to China 20 to 30 years ago. But what about Bangladeshi women? No dowry required, no demand for husbands to buy houses or cars in the city. In the countryside, just having a decent house is enough. Not to mention, mixed-race children from these marriages are often very smart and cute. With the current feminist awakening trend spreading in China, international marriages will probably become the mainstream in the future. What do you think about this trend?
女都是因为他们把男生的顶配条件当
The reason why 80% of women in Chongqing are still single is because they see the highest standards in men, as if that were their minimum requirements. I just walked around People's Park, and I realised that 90% of the dating profiles were from women. Most of them, regardless of their background, gave the same list of requirements. The man must have a house and a car in Chongqing, earn at least 27,500 euros a year, and be over 1.75 meters tall. Both parents must have social insurance, and some even require the husband's parents to work in government agencies. I blurted out, "Are the standards that high?" She immediately frowned. "High where? That's the basic level. Where do you live without a house? How do you get around without a car? How can you support a family without a financial foundation?" Those series of questions left me speechless. So I asked back, "So what do you bring?" She immediately replied, "I gave birth to his child. Isn't that enough of a sacrifice?" Honestly, a man who meets those conditions is at the top of the dating market and has a long line of beautiful young girls wanting to meet him. So I just want to ask, would a man like that choose a woman over 30? What do you think?
90年，今年都35。
I was born in 1990. I'm 35 this year. Many people say you don't look bad, so why are you still single? But what people don't understand is this. When women reach a certain age, you know the kind of people they introduce to you, either divorced men or divorced men with children. Being introduced to someone who has never been married is very rare. What about men of the same age? They are still being introduced to much younger women. So it's really quite awkward. It's not that I don't want to find someone to love, but the choices for women and men at this age are completely different.
大龄剩女的结局呢，一定是有价无市。
In the end, the fate of older single women is only wrapped up in being a son with a price but no market. Many people still believe in the saying, in China, there are 30 million more men than women. But what is the real problem now? The number of single women is about to reach 100 million, and some even say to themselves, if it doesn't work out, just find a rich husband and get married. Let me say this straight, you won't like it. It's rare to have a rich and stupid man, so stop drinking the sweet talk of fake positivity and start looking at yourself seriously and honestly.
相亲市场就要变天了，女方对男方的要
The matchmaking market is about to completely flip. Women asking men for dowry. This is nothing new anymore. But now, men are starting to collectively make the opposite demands. Have you heard what happened at a recent matchmaking event in Foshan? No matter how many dowry, houses, cars, money the women asked for, the men agreed. But they put forward only one condition. The women had to undergo a premarital health check. And as soon as this condition was raised, a wave of protests erupted. Many women angrily protested, not knowing what this was touched a nerve. But each person got angry, making the atmosphere of the event tense and awkward. The men explained, "Our parents have saved up all their lives. If we have to give that money away, we have to give it to a kind and pure woman. We don't mind giving 3 gifts and a dowry, but if we marry, it has to be a virtuous and motherly woman." The women retorted, this was blatant discrimination, and the men refuted. When talking about the dowry, they held their heads high and acted powerful, but when mentioning a health check, they went crazy. So the question is, do you think a premarital health check should become a mandatory condition for marriage? The current matchmaking scene is truly beyond imagination. Now men are starting to say, if a woman wants a house, a car, a dowry, it's okay, I have no problem with it. But before the wedding, a comprehensive premarital health check is required, and I have to check her hotel booking history. Has dating really come to this point? They even claim that I will take care of the house, the car, and the money, but in return, she has to prove that she is a good and clean person. They think that this is already the common standard in the matchmaking market across the country. Do you agree with this thinking? Is this the new normal in modern marriage? Recently in Hangzhou, many men have said the same thing. Getting married now is too difficult. I can't afford to take care of a beautiful girl. I don't want to marry an unbeautiful girl. I work hard for half my life, save every penny, and in the end, I use that money to marry a woman who used to belong to someone else, and I have to treat her like a treasure. Why not take that money to take care of my parents so they can live a little more comfortably? I only live once in my life and I don't owe anyone anything. What do you think about this point of view, right or wrong? I really don't understand what the hell society is anymore. The more sincere, the more honest, the more devoted, the harder it is to find someone to love. Those who pour out their hearts and love with all their heart are always the loneliest. And those who lie and paint the future, talk for the sake of it, but do nothing. There are always lovers, people chasing after them, never lacking. If you seriously want to find someone to marry, want a decent, long-term relationship, you won't find anyone suitable. Meanwhile, those who just want to play around, hang around all day, talk but don't do anything, find lovers very easily. Why? Why is it so ridiculous? Is this world collectively stupid? Data shows that in the first 3 quarters of 2020-25, China had only 4.747 million couples registered for marriage, down nearly 1 million from the same period last year, a record low in more than a decade. Meanwhile, the divorce rate remains at nearly 2 million couples per year, and the number of single people in the country has exceeded 300 million. Life in China today is no longer about warm homes, but loneliness in a crowded city. When love is priced, marriage becomes a contract, and women and men are valued according to assets or height or personal history. Society seems to be going backwards. Because life in China was once built on very simple values: sincerity, responsibility, love between husband and wife, and gratitude to parents. Perhaps it is time for us to relearn how to appreciate what really matters instead of pursuing perfection. If men do not have enough houses, cars, and income, they are considered not good enough. But if women over 30 have been divorced or have children, do they still have a chance? Are Chinese men who marry abroad avoiding responsibility, or are they looking for peace that society does not allow? If you are interested in love, marriage, and the real social conflicts happening in China, subscribe to China's Social Focus channel now. We will continue to bring controversial but true stories to the end. Leave a comment below. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell for China Social Focus channel so you don't miss any hot, true stories. And here is the debate about life in China. Don't be silent, speak up, because sometimes just one true word can change the way a society looks at marriage. Thank you for watching until the end.